Welcome to PM Express Business Edition. It has been seen as the most regulated sector in the economy, yet it has been hit by some serious fraud in the sector. Now, what is causing this hike in these fraud cases in the banking and financial sector? And what can be done to deal with this problem? The development has resulted in some 61 million Ghana cedis being lost in 2021. One can talk about suppression of cash, fraudulent activities going up when it comes to ATM and point-of-sale devices. But could this affect confidence in the entire financial and banking sector? Well, on PM Express Business Edition, we'll be trying to get some answers as we engage the head of financial stability at the Bank of Ghana, Dr. Joseph Frant. He's here with us in studio, and also Mr. JoyNews, his chief executive of the Ghana Association of Bankers, as we get some answers with respect to the rising cases or staff involvement in fraud cases in the banking and financial sector, and what can be done to restore confidence so that you will still want to walk into the banks and save with them. Well, all these issues wrapped up on PM Express. We'll be right back after this break. Welcome back to PM Express Business Edition. And every year, I don't try to put exact time on it, the Bank of Ghana releases a report that gives an update on developments of fraud in the industry. And a recent one that came out actually showed that there has been a marginal decline in terms of reported fraud cases by banks, special deposit-taking institutions, and EMIs, as in electronic money issuers. But when you look at the amount of money that has been lost, it has gone up a little bit. And what are they doing about it? Some are saying that could this hit or affect confidence in the entire financial system with respect to these reported cases or not? Dr. Fred Joseph Frant is head of Financial Stability Department at the Bank of Ghana, and JoyNews, chief executive of the Ghana Association of Bankers. And let me just try and roll some facts for you just to update our viewers in terms of the fact sheet. You can see that the total number of attempted fraud cases reduced by 12.09% to 2,347. However, recorded loss was valued at 61 million Ghana cedis, representing 144% increase. Now, ATM and point-of-sale related fraud recorded the highest loss of 22 million Ghana cedis. Impersonation recorded a loss of 10 million Ghana cedis. And these are some key facts. Staff involvement in fraud cases increased by almost 10% to 278 compared to 253 in 2020. Now, rural banks in terms of composition had about 46.04%, universal banks 28.06%, and savings and loans had 16.55%. And these are some of the key in terms of EMI, that is electronic money issuers, that could compose about the mobile money operators. You had the fraud in the indicators hitting 12,350. Now, the total amount of quote money lost, and that was somewhere around 12.8 million Ghana cedis, and MTN had the 90% of these cases. And no matter how you want to look at these numbers, of course, there is a marginal reduction. The money loss is a big concern. And let me first start with the player first. And JoyNews, I mean, for you, I don't think it's something that you're happy.
Of course, we say one fraud too many. So in a perfect world, you don't want to record even any incident at all. But unfortunately, we are in a situation where, as practitioners, we cannot stop the fraudsters from trying to defraud. So what we can do is to put in the barriers and the controls so we can arrest, any attempt. And where those attempts even come through, we have systems that can detect and be reported as, whenever it happens, we go to Bank of Ghana and report ourselves. That is, then we recorded this and then reported. But I would like to contextualize the entire report.
And I'll be coming down quickly on the, but Doc, just a quick comment also from you as well, that as a regulator, I know the work that you've done over the years in trying to solidify, if we can use that expression, confidence in the financial space. And when some of these reports come out, which the bank itself has taken a very bold step to put out this report, aren't you again worried that when people see some of these reports, I prefer to put my money under my pillow?
No, not at all, George. These are meant to rather boost confidence in the system, that you educate the public as to. So the essence of this is to let the public know what is going on and how they should comport themselves. When it comes to fraud, or when it comes to anomalies like this, controls must be put in place, yes. As John was going to, controls may be put in place, but there are things that override controls. One of them is collusion. Another is top management override. The third one, which is serious too and very difficult to control or to mitigate, is compromise. And compromise happens when you have the beneficiary, the public himself, giving out information to the person who will take advantage of him. And so with that, the only thing you can do is to sensitize, educate the person, not to compromise his or her, things or pings and so on and so forth. That could, one can take advantage of.
I'll be coming back to get more details, but for a lot of persons who may have bank accounts like me, I remember the Bank of Ghana issued a directive about linking your Ghana card with your existing account. And I'll come back to, but Mr. Wua, engaging your members, how has the situation been like, especially on today, or the closing date, if we should go by the initial announcement from the Bank of Ghana?
Yeah, it's been encouraging since we started the campaign to get our banking population update their records. I think the overriding point is that the most important is to get your Ghana card in the first place. And as has been said, this afternoon I was having a chat with Dr. France, and clearly, even from the regulator's perspective, there is no deadline to when you can update your records. Oh,
that is a new development for me.
No, what I'm saying is, the announcement that has come up, or we've been running, is valid. But the point is, whenever, so as long as you have your Ghana card, you can always decide when to go and update your records. The problem is, if you don't have the Ghana card, then you fall into the category where from tomorrow, your ability to transact may be inhibited because you don't have the Ghana card. So the overriding factor is access to, or a registered person, someone who has the Ghana card. It's not necessarily a person who has already linked, because at the point of transacting, the bank has an opportunity to update your records. You understand? So what we are doing, the campaign we've been running over the last couple of weeks, is to whip up public interest in the need to ensure that their records are updated, which is extremely important for a lot of reasons, because of control, security, we are talking about fraud, impersonation. So it's all important. All together means that we need to update our records. So those record updates, even before Ghana card, I'm sure you would have received
KYC.
Yeah, for KYC purposes, you'll be receiving notices from your bank. Come and update your records. Sometimes go to the ATM machine, the screen will be advertised. So it's nothing new, except that we are moving away from the forms of IDs we had to a different set of forms.
But so let me just cut in here. So, I mean, not boxing ourselves to numbers, how has it been from, again, your members, again, in terms of persons who have been able to migrate their card or do the link with respect to the Ghana card and their records at the bank?
I must say, the directive was issued, I believe, in January or thereabout. I had never received any calls on Ghana card and when I should link. But since the campaign about a month ago coming, I have received countless calls from friends, family, close relatives, close associates, asking people, whoever knows the work that I do or where I work, asking, oh, what do I do to do this? What do I do? So the interest in updating the records has really been whipped up. And much as I don't have the exact statistics to show you or the audience in terms of numbers, I know for a fact that we've really moved from where we were to a different level in terms of uptake. We are not where we prefer to be or where we anticipated that by now we should be. My preference is that by now we should have had about 99% compliance, where 99% of the bank records have proper KYC documentation on, and you and I, when we are transacting, we know that that alone has the potential to limit fraudulent activities by over 50% from our own estimation.
Was the banking house full today?
We did
because of this.
You know, sometimes when you hear things, I got a little bit scared in the morning when I heard a few comments on radio and people calling, but we did our own scan of the environment. And there was nothing. There was nothing unusual about banking activities today. Everything the banks were supposed to be doing, normal business hours, people were coming, except that most of the people there were people who were doing transactions that they would have come to do anyway, and then in addition, updating their records. But there was no crowding, no overcrowding, there was no queues. We did the checks. Just before I even came to the studio today, I got an email from my team telling me we have information from the banks, at least the banks that we have surveyed. There is no unusual movement, and there's nothing to be scared about.
Doc, was it, and help me out, I'm not trying to be mischievous, but was it a change of plan? Because the initial communication, and I stand to be corrected from the bank and from the regulator, was that July 1, you should have migrated to get access to your bank. Is it because from your intelligence and or whatever you have at your disposal, things have changed? And what is going to happen if tomorrow George Wiafe has not mapped or linked this thing? What is the directive to the banks?
It is still the case. Nothing has deviated from that position. The position is that you cannot transact banking. You cannot be involved in banking activity from 1st July.
Okay.
You know, and so what it means is that you cannot go and withdraw money from your bank if you haven't linked your Ghana card to your accounts. However, there is no expiry date to when you can do so. So there is an expiry date to when you can transact business, right? But there's no expiry date to when you can link your account to your Ghana card. So you go tomorrow, you want to withdraw, or you go tomorrow
500 Ghana cedis
you want
from my
to
account.
withdraw from your account. If you haven't linked your account to the Ghana card, you won't be able to withdraw. But you have opportunity to link your Ghana card to your account, then you withdraw. And you can continually do so, or anybody who is not, should not rush tomorrow or tomorrow next to go and withdraw. If you don't have any business of doing banking transactions to withdraw money, right? You can go anytime and you withdraw money, and you'll be allowed to withdraw only when your account is linked. So this is the proviso which has come in, that there is no expiry. And it's the same thing. So it is reinforcing the same point that from 1st July, you will not be able to, or you will not be allowed to withdraw from your accounts or to do banking business if you have not, right? The only thing is that the only deviation which I may have to come in is that if you are going to put in money, let's say you have deposits, you want to deposit into your account, you'll be allowed to do so. Otherwise, you have to take the money home, and these same fraudsters will apprehend you and take the money from you. You'll be allowed to do so, but you will not be allowed to withdraw. There will be no debits on your account, so you'll not be allowed to withdraw. The next proviso, which is an expansion of what we have said, and not to deviate from that, but an expansion of that, is that Ghanaians who are living abroad, in other words, non-residents who are Ghanaians who are living abroad, who through no fault of theirs have not been able to have access to Ghana card will be allowed to use their passports. Again, the diplomatic missions, the embassies, will be allowed to use their passports to do banking business. Aside of this, all other persons should have their Ghana cards and should link their Ghana cards to their bank accounts before they will be allowed. Let me take the opportunity to say that we also saw on social media that there are people out there who are saying that persons must link their Ghana card to their accounts through some links and so on and so forth. I think we have to say here and now that no bank has put it out there that you should link your bank account to your Ghana card remotely. You necessarily will have to go to the bank to do either your facial or biometric to link your account. You can't do that remotely.
Because, not to mention any bank's name, but I had a bank that a colleague works there, and he sent me that link to do that.
You have to be very careful about that, because fraudsters can cash in on that. Apart from getting your Ghana card, the bank will have to verify whether your Ghana card is actually genuine. And that is why your biometrics and your facial is very important. And that is why your presence is needed. And so we shouldn't give room so that we can have fraudsters also coming in, cashing in and taking advantage of the system. Because you will never be able to know who has put that link out there.
Mr. Well, I mean, this is news to me, and I stand to be educated a lot on that, because what also stopped from the banks or the association itself from coming out? Because I know a lot of friends say, George, I've also done the stuff online. I'm waiting for a verification or a notice from the bank that is completed.
Okay, so
lots of people. I think I did mine also online.
Yeah, no. So what not to take it away from Dr. Franz, what the banks have done, and what we've always advised our clients is, yes. Some of the banks have come up with other avenues for registering or updating.
But should they have gotten clearance from the Bank of Ghana first before doing that?
No, not necessarily. But they say trust but verify.
Yeah.
So if your client or your bank sends you a link, you have a duty to verify from the bank that I've received this link to update to my Ghana card, and we are able to contact our banks. So, is it a legitimate link? You can even take a shot of it and show, or whatever means you can use to show, because some of the banks have made access to their internet banking
through their apps,
through their mobile apps, which is already secured, gives two-factor authentication, and all those other security features around. But where you receive a link you are not familiar with, you've never used a link from your bank before, all of a sudden you see a link you are not familiar with, and then you go in and you begin putting in some variables that may expose you. That is exactly the point Dr. Franz said. You don't have to do that. And also, I think the point that has to be made is no bank, if it's doing remote verification or update, will ever ask you for your password or for your PIN number or for any type of credentials that enables you to securely log into the system. No bank will ask you.
That is so nobody. People are putting their PINs.
No, the bank is not asking you to put your password. If you check it, but if to have access to your mobile app, you already have your access credentials that you use. Once you are in, it's a secure environment. So through that, you can do your update. If it's an internet banking, you have your credentials that is known only to you. Once you enter in that environment, it's a secured environment. But I'm talking about where you have been sent a link, they say, do this. That link is a foreign link because you've never had that kind of access before. You don't go in fact, you will not even have a password. But normally, fraudsters prey on this kind of, when we are making this aggressive drive to also fraudulently create suspicious or fraudulent links. And if you're not careful, you go and you give your card, your account number, your password and everything, and then somebody may have access to it.
It's good we're talking about fraud. And Doc, I mean, there are a lot of people out there who are still struggling to get their Ghana card. So tomorrow, Kwabena Mensah has tried very hard to get his Ghana card. He's been paid his end of month salary. He needs to go and take this money and pay the child's school fees. He can't get access to it. That is no fault of Kwabena Mensah because he's still not got access to his Ghana card, and he needs that money badly to pay the child's school fees.
Thank you, George. I think before I come to that, I want us to talk a little about this remote. I think that if you are in a secured environment like internet banking and so on and so forth, yes, you are secured. That's where you transact business, and so. Yes, you're already known to the bank is known to you, and so on and so forth. So that is fine, except that the bank is supposed to verify your facial and your biometrics and all that. And that is why it is very important that even if you have that, I did go to the bank to have that verified.
It wasn't done for you, VIP remotely?
No, not at all.
They came to your office at Bank of Ghana to do it for you?
There was even no queue. I went to EcoBank. They are my bankers. There was no queue there. And I just, verified. And that was it. They did the facial and they did biometric. You either do the facial or the fingerprints and the biometrics, or you do either or both. So I will encourage everyone, even if you have a secured environment, that you can transact or get your links done, to still go and get your facial and get it complete. So because they will have to verify from NIA. Now to your next question, I think that NIA, from information that we have, targeted to register about 90 million Ghanaians. And so far, the information that we have is that they've registered about 16.8 million Ghanaians. So from this data, I think that only few Ghanaians, and of course they've opened centers too, that if you don't have your Ghana card, you can easily go and get it done. I'm yet to see people in the system who are unable to have their Ghana card, and they have made efforts, and they have. I'm yet to hear of that. So it's based on that we came out, because we did all this before we came out with these categorical dates that, look, you will not be. And of course, we're also reliably informed. And of course, we've also checked with NIA that make sure that you have all these centers available. It is for this reason that when NIA said that those Ghanaians domiciled outside the country, they haven't been able to, they haven't provided logistics to the embassies or be able to access them. That is why we have brought in this proviso. Otherwise, Ghanaians here, every Ghanaian here should have a Ghana card and should be able to access Ghana card to do the linkage and to transact business. I don't think that, but if for any reason somebody has that difficulty, the person can complain to NIA or to ourselves, and let's facilitate that.
The doors of the Financial Stability Department is always open. I mean, I've seen you put...
We will facilitate that. We will link you up to NIA and where you can get it done. So we want the system to run and run seamlessly. So we'll do that. We'll facilitate that.
But George, just to add a little to that, I had a short chat with the senior executives at NIA and also with margins. When the mobile registration situation was ongoing and they opened up additional registration centers, there were registration centers that the whole day they were registering like 15 or 20 people, the whole day. So when people, I find, yes,
somewhere
so I find it very difficult when people say we've been trying to get Ghana card, we are not getting. When the opportunity came, not the mass registration, the second leg, where LWAC and other big areas, they had a lot of machines around, people should just come and register. They could go a whole day with 8 or 10 registration officers stationed, to register 15 people. So I'm not sure anyone, even from the time we started our campaign, the banking industry started a campaign for banking customers to have their Ghana card and also update their records. Between that time and now, any banking customer who lives in Ghana, who really wants a Ghana card for a period of 30 days, has been trying to get Ghana card and cannot get, should call me. I am not sure we can have that person.
Have you now been able to link your system to the remote links at the NIA? Because in the past, there were instances where some banks were rejecting the Ghana card. So now, everything has been linked that you can do the verification independently at the bank.
Yes. Yes. No, I mean, we've been ready for quite...
But there were times when some of the commission were not accepting.
You know, we started, why you have those situations, those times, was because the banks were piloting with some branches. It was during the implementation phase. And it was not all the branches that had access to the verification machines. So in that case, if you happen to be in a branch where those machines were not available, then your Ghana card will be as good as any other card you are holding, because the opportunity to verify or the systems to verify it did not exist. But now, as we speak, we started working on this November last year. From where we sit, around April, all 23 banks that we have, commercial banks that we have all fully integrated. From April, if you are talking about a situation you recorded post-April, then I would like to know, because I am not sure that is something that exists at the moment.
Maybe if I may, if I should buttress what John has said, we happen to be on a program in Eastern Region, Koforidua to be specific, and we did a survey just last week, Thursday, I think Wednesday and Thursday, in the banks in Koforidua, and it was 100% proof. I mean that you are customers who came to link their cards were able to link their cards, and there was not a single one that could not link their card. These are branches in Koforidua. So that should tell you that, well, there may be initial bottlenecks. Of course, at this teething period, you have some bottlenecks. And even as of now, you can have, it's a system, you can have one or two that could
break down.
Exactly, and so on. But I think 100%, 99%.
Doc, your final words as you close on this chapter. I foresee some problems at the banking hall tomorrow. First, to the commercial banks, what should they be doing from tomorrow, and the bank and customers, Doc?
Well, on the contrary, I don't see any problem. I don't think that there will be, if there should be problems at the bank, congestion at the bank, is today that should happen.
I'm talking about people trying to withdraw, and they have not done the link and the banking.
No, I think we should separate the two issues.
Yeah.
Having the Ghana card is the primary objective.
Okay. So,
not doing the link at the point of transacting, that thing can be done.
What if I still want to withdraw? And that's what I want, that clarity.
You can still
and I have not have a Ghana card.
You don't have it at all.
Ghana card. That's why I want the clarity, Doc, going forward tomorrow. What is the clear directive to the commercial banks and to the banking customer, please?
If you don't have a Ghana card, then you don't have to go to the bank.
To withdraw.
You have to go to
my own money.
Yes, it's your own money. But you can't just walk into a bank to say that I want to withdraw my own money. You need to get access to withdraw your own money. So if you don't have a card, all you need to do is to go to NIA designated offices to get a card. You get to the banking hall in less than 5 minutes, 2 minutes. You should have your accounts linked to your Ghana card, and you can withdraw easily. So my advice to the public, and I don't foresee that happening, because I know if 16.8% of
million,
16.8 million out of targeted 19 million has been registered. That should tell you that just a minute fraction are not. And those may not be as a result of the person the person will just have to work, and the centers have been made available. So my advice to them as we close down on this is that if you don't have, and I believe it's a very minute proportion of those. Just go to NIA designated office, get it done, and get to your bank.
What about the commercial banks that you regulate?
Yes.
What are you telling them?
Well, that they should ensure that they link all Ghanaians who have Ghana card who work in there. They know it already, so that's what they are going to do. And they should ensure that they have all the logistics available so that we will not have queues and congestions, which I doubt will happen because from our survey, everything is going on seamlessly.
Mr. Wa, tomorrow.
So again, I assure the public that make sure that you link your card, but you don't necessarily have to go tomorrow to link your card to your bank account. If you don't have any banking transaction to do tomorrow, you can do it anytime you walk to the bank to have that done.
Tomorrow?
Yeah, so tomorrow, to the banking population, what we say is, if you don't have anything to do with the bank, don't just go there because of this. You understand? Because there should not be any panic. There is nothing that has really substantially changed in line of your banking. The only thing is, instead of your existing IDs, your driver's license, or passports, SNIT, biometric cards, we are now replacing those with the Ghana card. If you have a transaction to execute, you go, produce your Ghana card, and do it. If you don't have Ghana card at all, instead of driving to the bank, drive to NIA and get the card, and then straight come to the bank and transact. The good thing is, even without the card, so long as you have registered, because it's biometric, once you get there and you want to be verified, you don't even physically have to produce a card. You put your finger, it will pop up your details. So for those who have registered, who says, I've lost my card, I have not received my card yet, so long as you have evidence of registration, you can still transact. Go there, the bank will be able to verify you. So we don't have to panic at all. I think we are in a very good place.
Let's come. Yeah, sorry, Doc.
If you've registered, like you said, to reinforce that point, if you've registered, if you have a Ghana card, if you misplaced it, and your hands are not chopped off, and they will still verify your facial is also. And I must also say that the good thing that NIA did was that some of the banks became designated centers for their customers.
Okay.
So you walk into a bank those days, and you can even be registered and have your card. So most bank customers have a Ghana card, so there won't be any panic.
Let's come back to the fraud statistics numbers. And Mr. Wu, I mean, I know that the commercial banks are doing everything on there, but when I look at the numbers and even the money loss, I'm worried about it, that you want to contextualize about, but still a fraction of universal bank staff are still caught up in this. Some are saying that you're not doing enough despite the super abnormal profits that your members are posting to check some of these things.
Yeah, George, when I say we need to contextualize it, I just checked on the website of UK Finance. UK Finance is an organization of more or less like the Bankers Association of the UK, but it includes the credit card providers, the mortgage houses, and all the other finance houses that you have in the UK. For 2021, the UK economy lost £1.3 billion to fraud. £1.3 billion. Ghana, unfortunately as it may be, is 61 million Ghana cedis.
That is
the economy,
huge.
The size of the economies
parameters are different.
The parameters are different. But I want to tell you that let's not look at the numbers and just throw it out there as though the situation is extremely bad. I am not sure. If you look from the report, the number of reporting institutions or entities increased. Meanwhile, the number of reported cases came down. It marks, that is where my happiness is. It marks a significant development. That while the number of reporting institutions are going up, we have the number of reported cases coming down, which means there is some work happening, and therefore the incidence of fraud is minimizing. We can't bring it to zero because we can't stop them from trying. And these numbers that we talk about includes attempted fraud. Not all 2,600 and over cases were successful. A significant number of them were unsuccessful. But we have, by law, have to report to the regulator whether it's successful or unsuccessful. Pick the staff issues, for instance. Yes, the decline is not significant, but the mix in terms of the composition of the fraud that is accounted for by staff involvement also declined from 56% to 53%. So that is also a significant development. That while transaction volumes are going up, that proportion is coming down. But to answer the key issue about the staff involvement, it's a worry. It's a worry to me. It's a worry to the industry.
You're not paying them so much. You're not paying them well. And I'll come back to Dr. Frank.
I think
a bank is making a profit about 600 million Ghana cedis.
We will come to that.
Yeah, sorry, you're making
because in some of these staff involvement, we have senior managers, we have sometimes even executives, we have middle-level management who are very well remunerated, who are also involved. So let's not situate it on compensation alone, because a person who has bad integrity, you can pay him $1 million, he will still steal. I think we need to look at this in the totality of the situation and contextualize it within the setting of the country, where the moral fabric of our society is almost completely disappearing. My wife runs a small business, and a pharmaceutical business. And I'm telling you, if we watch the CCTV cameras and we see the things happening there, I'm telling you, it's the truth of the matter. And sometimes,
but when the necessary checks are there, we would all want to break the law. But there's a reason why when I cross the red light, I know the implications that comes in. I will not cross it.
Can I respond to that? Since you brought the checks, there is no staff, I can say on authority, there is no staff within the banking system who has not gone through the police clearance system. Every
but we have staff involved. But we still have staff involved.
That's what I'm saying, that the banks don't run the clearance system. And the clearance system, if today, George, you commit an offense at Joy FM here, and you are not convicted and maybe imprisoned, the police will not have your record. So you can tomorrow move from Joy FM and go to Peace FM and still work like as though you have moved from Bank A to Bank B. We need to overhaul the entire system, making sure that even if somebody has, just like we are reporting attempted fraud, even if you have gone through a prosecutorial process and there's a settlement, you are still culpable, even if there was a settlement. So that your database will still go on the police system, and when you go and you take your fingerprints and you are registered there, tomorrow, if you show up in a different suit and you want to work for another bank, they put your fingerprint there, it pops up, George, you once committed this fraud here and it was settled, you didn't go to jail, but you are still a convicted felon because your case, you know, like you accepted the offense. So you cannot overlay the entire problem over the banking industry because the banks work with other systems and control. There are areas that, yes, we have a lot of work to do.
I'm not to mention names. I have friends in the banking industry who've complained bitterly about the compensation system. And these are persons who are working for institutions that at the end of the year, they're reporting that they made 400 million Ghana cedis as profit after tax. Obviously, that person is exposed to anyone who walks to him and says, listen, do this for me, I'll give you this.
You see, when you are talking about the banking sector profitability, let's talk about the capital requirements to be able to generate that profit. You see, we banks have owners, just like any other business. Give me one industry in this country that has the kind of capital requirements that the banks require. Give me one. You cannot give me one because it does not exist. The bank's capital requirements are at that level because of the kind of, we are a public interest organization, and the kind of work that we have to do with that profit, because somebody's money is, there's opportunity cost of that capital. Instead of investing it in the bank, they could put it in the government paper, they could do something else with it. So that, look at the return on equity. And I don't want to name names here, but compare the bank's return on equity to other profitable segments in this country, and you find that the ROEs of the banks are lower because our capital levels are huge. Minimum 400 million to be able to generate the profit you are talking about.
Let me bring in Doc. Doc, as a regulator, for you, are you worried? I know the kind of work that BOG has done over the years, and you still see these numbers. staff involvement, suppression of cash, and all those things. And for you, are you worried by that?
Well, every regulator will be concerned, about fraud and theft, attempted fraud, and so on. But the good thing is that there are controls that have been put in place. The regulator has also assisted in putting some controls, some directives. As we migrate towards cyber, as we migrate towards technology, the Bank of Ghana has put in place the cybersecurity directives and so on. All the banks have their SOCs, what we call Securities Operations Center, which gathers intelligence. The Bank of Ghana is putting in a fixed SOC as industry data and all that. So as we migrate towards that, you have all this intelligence, and that will assist. But like I started by saying that, look, there is no control system that is foolproof. So it's individuals that will break that. And I mentioned that you can have the top management system, like you say. There are some top guys who may be in there, and if they're overriding controls, it's very difficult to, and as well as the other breaks to control. The last one, which is more difficult, is where the public themselves compromise their.
And is that happening, Doc?
Oh, yes, and that is the majority. And that there is nothing much you can do than to sensitize the public. And that is what we do. We spend so much money in sensitization. We spend so much money in educating the public as to what they should do, what they should not do. And that is what we do. We make sure that we make the system as transparent as possible. We try to remove what we call information asymmetry, so that we force the banks to put all information out there to empower the public. It's the most gullible and the most ignorant, those who are not technologically savvy, who will expose themselves. And quite a number of people will take out, some are not professional fraudsters. They just take advantage of a situation. Somebody gives him his PIN. His grandmother or his grandfather, who he thinks has given him his uncle has given him his PIN because he is not technologically savvy and so on. The next moment, in which he goes there to, take advantage, get some, So those things happen, But the fact is that, like John said, the bora fiber is very important, and that's a policy issue that we have to be looking at as to who will want to take advantage of who. Now, a former roommate, if you have time, told me that he went to the UK and his roommate was a Rasta man, and he said that if he's looking at me, he will know that I'm sharing this. He said that he went out and on the streets he saw 20 pounds on the floor. He picked it. This is somebody who thought that he's a very good Christian. He picked it, he got to the house and he told his roommate that he picked 20 pounds on the floor. The man who is a Rasta man, who doesn't know anywhere from the Bible, said that, who asked you to pick it? The person must be looking for that money. Yeah. Go and put it there. You understand? We need to develop our system to a level that one can tell you that you see money on the floor, don't pick it. The owner will come and trace the money and come and pick it. That is where we have to do.
Do you think that we should have more of a standardization when it comes to compensation in the banking industry? Maybe it could also help deal with staff that are falling prey to some of these things.
Well, I don't think that we don't do that. It has its implications.
Why?
You can't standardize remuneration in the banking system. You let a system come out with its own remuneration system, and once you accept to work in a bank, even though we're saying that, look, pay especially the non-contract, the contract staff and so on, pay them at least appreciably well so that they will not actually be encouraged to do this. We still don't think that that is wholly the thing that will stop persons from taking advantage of the system. we think that people should be morally upright, and that should be, should be in the system to build people up. You can't standardize. We think that the system should come out with its own remuneration procedures and measures and levels.
Doc, I mean, this thing has been happening over the years. The numbers are going down. Are you getting that tough with these commercial banks?
Tough
or enforcing the laws to the letter to ensure that these things reduce drastically?
Yes, let me tell you what we do. What we do is that we assist in putting controls, helping the institutions which I've mentioned. I mentioned about the security directives that we put. We ensure that we have other structures like credit reporting structures. We have structures for even registry, the markets. We have structures for payment systems, which of course creates the environment for the banks, all the banks and all the regulated institutions to tap into to ensure that they have effective controls and efficient system. The next thing that we do is to ensure that we up our game on supervision. We've also asked the criminals increase in technology. We also try to use technology to make our supervision more efficient. So we employ RegTechs and SupTechs and what have you. We now have moved to what we call ORAS. ORAS helps us to make sure that we collect and collate information and analyze them properly. So we'll be able to do that, be able to know what is happening off the shelf, and so on before we even move in. But the most important thing that I say we do is to empower the public. It's very, very important.
And it's what you're doing, because I still see people, and even sitting at the back, certain things people come to me trying to verify, and I'm like, listen, this is somebody who's a professor at university, and I don't expect him to fall prey to some of these things. And that's something that maybe BOG has to have a game whilst the commercial bank, because it appears that still people are falling prey to certain funny stuff.
What we do is to ensure that we empower the public by, and when we say we empower the public, we force the institutions to give more information to the public, right? To be as transparent as possible to the public, and also to come out with structures that if persons have problems, have complaints, so that if you see some anomaly, you see something which you think is untoward, you have a desk that you can move to so easily, and also we move to institutions and we move to them, just like we hear. We moved to all the security agencies, we've moved to them, we've educated them. We've moved to some of the universities, we've moved to markets and so on, educating them on simple things. Some persons who may not be gullible, who may be technological savvy, who may be very competent as far as these things are concerned, who fall prey to them, a lot of them may not be out of ignorance, but out of greed. They probably will be chasing something else. And so they will want, and they will be shortchanged and so on and so forth. So that we shouldn't rule out some of those things. But the majority of people, that is not to say that if you're a university professor, so you understand banking. You don't. You may be as ignorant as, my grandmother in the bush or in the village. You understand? You need to understand what it is. And there are basic things that you just have to follow. And the banks will assist you to do that. If you get to a bank, they all have decks that will explain things to you and so on and so forth.
But when we come back, I want to look at what is done to institutions that consistently are breaking the rules. Is it just fines or possibility of license withdrawal? And also the bit about confidence and what structures you're putting in place to ensure that confidence in the sector is not affected. We're talking about banking sector fraud and also confidence in the sector, whether these things has a potential to hurt confidence in the industry. I'm engaging Dr. Joseph Francis, Head of Financial Stability at the Bank of Ghana, and also John Wiafe, Chief Executive of the Ghana Association of Bankers. PM Express Business Edition. We'll be right back after this break. And welcome back to PM Express Business Edition as we talk about banking sector fraud and whether it has the ability to affect confidence in the sector. I'm engaging the Director of Financial Stability Department at the Bank of Ghana, Dr. Joseph Franz, and also George Wiafe, he's the Chief Executive of the Ghana Association of Bankers. And distinguished gentlemen, thank you so much. And more extra time for PM Extra because of these distinguished men who've had time to talk about development in the industry. And so, well, let me come back to you. What are you doing away from the regulator also to put in place the right systems and all the rest to avoid some of these things? And also my question about compensation, whether something can be done about it?
Yeah, just a minute to address an issue that Dr. Franz touched on. And to a point that you raised about a professor, and I can tell you that the danger that route we embark on by equating academic qualification with financial literacy is a misnomer. I'm telling you, most of the people, the victims of banking fraud, are people who are very well educated. You understand? So your education level has no bearing on your financial literacy level. There are people who are very well educated who know nothing about whether I should put my password in that computer or not to put it in. So we need to be very careful not to overexpose ourselves because we have a certain view of our background that we cannot be defrauded. We should all be on alert and be protected and be personally, financially, security conscious so that we don't fall victim to these people who are out there to get us. The other thing I'll talk about, talking about confidence in the banking system, is the banks are doing everything. It takes two to tango when it comes to financial fraud, financial crime. We need the customers to also come on board. Dr. Franz has talked about a lot on the public education. I'll emphasize that a lot more because the level of negligence when it comes, sometimes when the complaints come.
Who initiates it? Your members, the commercial banks?
Oh, no, we also undertake a lot of it. No, you see banks going into the markets, talking to, everyone they meet about being financially security conscious, about who you inform about your financial details, people putting their password in their wallet together with their card, and you lose the wallet. Sometimes you don't have to lose the wallet. You may just say, oh, I'm using the washroom. By the time you come, somebody has access to your card and not physical access. He takes a screenshot of the face of your card, the back of it, and has your password. He has your card. Everything on your card is with him or her, and they can do whatever they like. So that personal responsibility should also be emphasized. And we will also want to let the media also be an advocate. That is, financial crime is a national security issue, and we should all be interested in bringing it down. Are you getting it? We should all work towards bringing this issue of fraudulent activities down. And it takes me, it takes you, it takes Dr. Franz, the regulator, it takes the man on the street to all come together.
And still to come back on what you're doing,
on the
the compensation as well, yeah.
I can see that the compensation thing is very important to you. But as I have said, personally, much as
you've worked with lots of banks before getting here.
Yes, and I've seen fraud in all the strata of the organization, not just at the lower level. You understand? And that is where I find it very difficult to directly link the level of compensation to the fraud event. Okay. But it is an issue that has come up. It's not the first time. It's almost appeared in all the fraud reports that I have read. And as a community of banks, we've discussed it at length. There are some banks that have already taken action, trying to address some of the significant gaps between the, particularly the outsourced staff population, the contract staff, and the permanent staff, and others, to do something to bridge that gap. So there's no significant, should I say, sometimes unhealthy, variation between what people doing the same work. They know they are doing the same work are earning because by virtue of the fact that one is on a permanent register, and the other one is on the contract register. So that is being addressed. The other one is on controls. Continuously, the banks are investing in systems, in emerging threats, are getting arrested. The reason, if you read the report, banks reporting is 100% is we take it very seriously. We want to highlight it. We don't hide it. As it happens, not at all. And that, I'm sure Dr. France will commend the banks, that we do not, because we see that if it's not escalated, it will not be addressed. Even where the banks have their names and brands associated, they still make sure that the regulator, the police, and everybody that needs to know. So we can together, have a proper resolution of the factors that create the scenarios. But when it comes to investment, I can tell you that through Bank of Ghana, the directive on cybersecurity, the banks now are ISO certified on their SOC, security operations centers, and all these things are geared towards bringing down this, because a lot of things are now happening in the air, the digital environment, geared towards bringing down the miscreants within that environment.
What happens to a George Wiafe bank that consistently is being found to be reporting very high fraud cases and all the rest? Is it just the fine? Or you could have a situation where, listen, George Wiafe, you can lose your banking license?
Well, I know that's very interesting. I know you'll be coming to that, where like banking license is linked to, I think I'll come to that. You see, there is a correlation. I don't discount that. There is a correlation between a person who is not remunerated very well to crime levels that a person can. Just as there is correlation when there are hardships, you see crime also, But that is not to say that persons should be involved in fraud and crime when they are lowly paid. You walk in and you are accepted to work. Now, coming to your question, the Bank of Ghana ensures that there are stringent sanctions to banks. And regulated institutions, not only banks, all regulated institutions, Bank of Ghana regulated institutions who fall foul of our regulations. All banks, all SDIs, all NBFIs, and so on, even though there is proportionality. The big players, we expect them to know better. So sometimes theirs is, they keep crying to our office all the time, and so on. We expect them to take the lead and draw the others along with them. So we sanction them heavily. And of course, the Act says that if persistently you go foul of the law continuously, there are heavier cumulative sanctions that could happen.
Like, Doc?
Withdrawal of license, like you're saying, is specified in the law. We have mandatory and we have others that, cumulatively, if you don't, then all of them will be put together. And of course, that will be leveled against you. And it can lead to withdrawal of license. That is not to say that when there are fraud cases, then the Bank of Ghana will come to withdraw.
But they also do consistently and
together with all other things. If it's deliberate and that will be leveled against you. And of course, we go strictly by the Act, the Act 930. What the Act says is what we follow. And so all of them put together can lead to you losing your license and will not shirk that responsibility. We can do that and make sure you exit seamlessly and you don't create systemic implications for the whole system.
Doc, let me come quickly with a bit about confidence as we try and wrap up and all the rest. And for you, are you worried or you think that the steps are being taken to ensure that confidence in the entire banking and financial space is intact and this development doesn't hit or affect that?
Of course, yes. He just mentioned about the UK system that I've put out there. We ensure that, and I think they will testify that there are certain things that are circulated to the industry alone. It doesn't come to George Wiafe and the public. It goes to the banks for them to do corrective measures. That one has nothing to do with the public. So those will be circulated among the banks. There are some that will be directed to the banks alone and will not even go to the next bank and so on. So we are measured in things that we do, and we ensure that we are proportionate. I mean, in whatever we will do to bank A, to bank B, or lower tier bank, and so on and so forth. So yes, we do that to sanction and to make sure that we bring all of them online. And we'll continually do that so that we have an efficient system to run. So you and I will feel safe. Confidence in the banking system, we think that we do this, like I said from the beginning, to rather whip up confidence that we are giving you so much information. We want you to know what happens, and we want you to take advantage of that so that you don't have someone take advantage of you. You shouldn't be shortchanged in your banking transaction. That is why we should know all these tricks and all these fraudsters who are in the system, so that somebody calls you and say, give your PIN. You know that you are not supposed to give your PIN. Somebody calls you and says that, can we have your card? You know that once you have your card, like Mr. Owa said, and I take a picture of the front and the 3-letter, I can shop online. I don't need your password. The password doesn't even come in. I can shop online with that card. So we tell you this, and that is it.
So as you wrap up, your final words in 2 minutes, sir?
Yes, so when we talk of confidence, I think it's both ways. And again, since you invited us here and this discussion is being held in your premises, I will put a lot also at your doorstep. I remember very well the headlines when Bank of Ghana issued the 2020 fraud report, and there was attempted fraud of 1 billion. Oh, banks lose 1 billion to fraud. Meanwhile, in the detail, it was less than even 20 million to 50 million or something. So the way we also carry the stories, you know, sometimes in an attempt to make the story more sensational, we rather feed, anxiety, and then we destroy the confidence and trust. So I would say, and I just mentioned to you that in the UK, in all its advancement in technology and everything, and I'll send the report to you. I have it on my phone right now. I'll send to you. It is more or less like exactly what we receive from Bank of Ghana in terms of impersonation, ID, whatever, credit fraud, and all those things are there. 1.3 billion pounds. I have not heard it on BBC.
Okay.
You understand? So we have a duty as banks to also ensure that we strengthen our controls and continue our drive on public education, educating our staff, our customers, particularly how to be financially security conscious. So we do not, in an attempt to maybe favor somebody, let go our financial records and then by so expose ourselves.
Doc, in 30 seconds, your final words, please.
I think I thank Joy FM for this opportunity. I must say that the public should not panic that come tomorrow you cannot have banking transactions and you cannot link your card to your Ghana card. You have all the opportunity to do that. You can do that. Again, I must say that we put this information for the public to learn. And so the public should take these seriously, get to know who they deal with in the banks and the structures, the provisions that have been given by the bank. They should take advantage of that. And we'll have a very good system, a very good banking system to enjoy from. So,
Dr. Joseph Francis, the head of Financial Stability Department at the Bank of Ghana, John Iwa, the Chief Executive of the Ghana Association of Bankers, distinguished gentlemen, I thank you so much for your time. I know that the debate will still go on in your office, in your homes, about whether enough is being done to bring about confidence in the banking sector, and also what you have to do when you walk into a banking hall tomorrow to transact business. This has been PM Express Business Edition. Have a great day.